The UK Time Out on Radio Biafra, bringing news beats from across the United Kingdom, incisive analysis by the People's Parliament. Our panel dissects the topic of the week, and listeners interact.
Also featuring great Biafran history, education, awareness, and enlightenment, plus entertainment galore.
Tune in to the UK Time Out on Radio Biafra, Sundays from 7:30 p.m. Biafran time and British Summer Time. Set out for a fabulous week ahead with the UK Time Out on Radio Biafra. News, views, previews, and reviews. Join us.
But remember, yes, remember, love's the bottom line at Christmas time.
Let's go for the go to market and find me an update. No go in a pool garden, put on a house on a pool party. People like to go party, but December we are coming.
Very good evening from here. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to the UK Time Out on Radio Biafra on this special Sunday, the last Sunday of the year 2024. My name's Ikechukwu Naisumukoro Ichie Machinemere, your host. Ichie Machinemere hail from Onitsha in Ezinihite, Owerri, Biafra land. I serve my beloved Biafrans as the IPOB UK National Coordinator. As usual, we will begin with a word of prayer. After that, we'll bring you our usual line of the news beat before we delve into the topic of the week. Homecoming, a transformational move towards the restoration of Biafra. It's been that season of homecoming, and the IPOB have been encouraging Biafrans to think home, look home, and come home to develop Biafra land. Let us pray. Chukwu okike abịama pụrụ ime ihe niile, Oriza na-ekpere ọgwụ onye ime eluigwe asaa ọkaka enwe onye yiri gị. Ụbọchị taa, ụbọchị orie pụrụ iche, anyị na-enye gị ekele n'ụzọ dị iche iche. A sị na ahụ anyị niile, ihe niile anyị nwere wụrụ ọnụ ozughị iji nye gị otuto, nye gị ekele. Kachasị ihe ọma niile mere anyị n'ime afọ nke a dị iche, pụrụ iche n'ụzọ dị iche. Ikpeghị ka atụmatụ ndị iro, onye iro ekwensu mezuo n'ebe ụmụ gị nọ. Iduru anyị, dubata anyị n'ime ngwụcha afọ a, ala anyị nwekwara olileanya na ị ga-edufe anyị, duba anyị n'ime afọ ọhụrụ n'ụbọchị 3 ọ 4 nke na-abịanụ. Ekele dịrị gị, ịma mma dịrị gị. Anyị apụghị ịkọcha ọdịmma gị niile. Anyị nakwa ayọ gị mgbaghara mmehie ụzọ ọbụla anyị na-esila mmehie gị n'ime afọ a. Kpuchaa anyị, hichaa anyị, sachaa anyị, ka anyị na-aba n'afọ ọhụrụ eze, kpee ka anyị bụrụ ndị ọhụụ, ndị dị mma karịa oke anyị dị na mbụ, ndị ga-akpọgetekwa gị nso n'ịhụnanya n'eziokwu na mbọ anyị na-agba nwere onwe anyị inye anyị ala nke ikwere anyị na nkwa ala Biafra. Anyị arịọkwa nwa gị nwoke Nnamdi Kanu, onye ndu anyị, nyefee n'aka gị, nakwa enye gị ekele n'isi ya na ndụ ya, otu isi chekwa ya n'ime afọ nna dịka a na-aba n'ime afọ ọhụrụ eze. Meere ya amara, kpochakwa ya, sachaa ya, chigharịa ya ka ọ dị mma karịa ka ọ dị na mbụ, ma nke kachasị n'ime ka o si n'ụlọ itiri ahụ ebe ọ nọ wee pụta, dịka anyị nwere olileanya n'ime gị ya n'oge na-ete ha aka na ọ ga-emezu n'anya anyị niile dịka anyị ga-emerekwa ụmụ anyị wee nweta Biafra wee bulie ha nsọrọ otuto n'ihi na o kwesịrị gị enweghị onye yiri gị. Nna biko chekwa ụmụ Biafra ebe ọbụla anyị niile na-anọ n'ụmụ IPOB ekwekwele ka anyị daa mba. Gbaa anyị ume, nye anyị ike, nye anyị eziokwu, nye anyị ịhụnanya, nye anyị ịdị n'otu, nye anyị ike nke iji rụọ ọgụ anyị na ọgụ nke eziokwu, ọgụ nke agụ uche nke anyị nọ n'ime wee ruo ya n'ọgwụgwụ. Ekwekwela ka anyị daa mba. Ndị dara mba falie ihe ọkụ n'ike ka o mebaa ha n'ime afọ ọhụrụ anyị na-abụ eze, wee ka anyị niile pụta n'igwe n'otu olu n'otu obi ịchụ nwụrụ onwe a ma nwetakwu ya n'eziokwu, ka otuto niile wee bụrụ nke gị, ịja mma niile alaghachiri gị, anyị wee nwee ọṅụ nwezuo ya oke ma na-ekele nna n'ihi na ama m n'ime zuru karịa oke anyị yọrọ site n'aha nwa gị nwoke Yeshua Hamashiach. Ise 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 ise. Ihe nna mere m dị ukwuu, ihe nna mere m dị ukwuu, ihe nna mere m dị ukwuu, ọnụ m apụghị ịkọ ya. Ihe nna mere anyị dị ukwuu, ihe nna mere anyị dị ukwuu, ihe eze mere anyị dị ukwuu, ọnụ anyị apụghị ịkọchasị ya. The news bit is next.
Christmas, my favorite time of the year, when the joy love's always sweeter, and the chicken's always bigger. Wait, but remember, yes, remember, love's the bottom line at Christmas
Mr. Producer, let's go for the next to make us play out. Anyway, yeah, we're not going to begin with that. Go to market and find me on stage.
Never been to a full garden, put on a house on a pool party. We like to go party, but December we are coming outside. Christmas is the best season to chop rice and to chop chicken. All of my guys get to go with the bag up. All my guys gonna show with the bank love.
No, love is available. The special miracle is nothing without love. Let it show, show everywhere you go. Tell everyone you know. The reason for the season is your loving and your healing.
Good evening, Biafrans and lovers of freedom. Welcome to UK Timeout on Radio Biafra. My name is Mazi CJ and I'm here with my comrade Nwada Oge to give you this week's news bits. The deadline for the IPOB UK end of the year ESN fundraising is this Tuesday, December 31st, 2024. IPOB UK National Coordinator Chief Ike Chukwunaizumoku has thanked all who have donated as well as those who made pledges this quarter, reminding all that ESN fundraising remains a continuum, so more new contributors are always welcome. Addressing Luton Zone during their end of year meeting last night, Chief Okoro emphasized the need for regular ESN contribution vis-a-vis the importance of ESN as our last line of defense. The head of Directorate of State, DOS, Mazi Chika Edozien, will address Biafrans in his New Year State of Nation live broadcast on Wednesday. All Biafrans are urged to tune in to Radio Biafra for this landmark broadcast by the head of DOS. The DOS in the meantime commended the International Society for Civil Liberty and Rule of Law Inter-Society for their in-depth research and documentation of all the crimes
committed against innocent Biafrans, particularly in Igbo, by the Nigeria state actors from 2015 to 2024. A recent report released by Inter-Society evidenced the silent genocide and annihilation agenda going on in the southeast by the Nigeria government through her murderous security forces. The DOS reiterated that such rally as exposed by Inter-Society make funding the ESN adequately for the protection of our land and our people a national duty for all Biafrans. Non-IPOB member can support the ESN by contacting the national coordinators for directions or online via IPOB official website www.ipob.org/donate. The IPOB leadership has consistently dissociated the global peace movement from any violence and any other forms of criminality perpetuated by Nigerian government-sponsored agent provocators who use the name of Biafra and IPOB as a smokescreen. Recently, IPOB Media and Publicity Secretary Emma Powerful, with a press release, named one Ibrahim Larabo Ali as the owner of the Islamic bank account under the business name Alim Global Resources that was used to sponsor the autocriminal President Biafra in Exile declaration in Lahti, Finland. With the Islamic stating they will soon start publishing the names of the donors in the accounts, IPOB once again warned unsuspecting innocent Biafrans of increased risk of their personal details being deliberately passed on to the Fulani terrorists by Erima Fasiko BRG. Simon Ekpa, with his arrested for accomplice, is still in jail in Finland facing terrorism charge. Reports say the Interpol is now involved with other international agencies to unmask the autopilot sponsors.
Good evening, I am Oge. The wife of our leader, Lolo Uchechukwukano, was live on Biafra Television Europe last night to continue her end-of-year conscientization and enlightenment of Biafrans, friends of Biafra and lovers of freedom, answering a wide range of viewers' questions and to offer clarifications and directions on the way forward. Recall that Lord Uchechi was our special guest of the Christmas special episode last Sunday, where she touched on a variety of issues, including the reassurance that Onyendu would come out of illegal detention in 2025, while discussing the topic of reformations and transformations that make New Year resolutions meaningful. Lord Uchechi Okukano encouraged IPOB family members to remain consistent in our belief in the peaceful restoration through a conscious decision to make reformative moves that will bring about positive transformation development in a sovereign Biafra. IPOB UK enjoins everyone to please sign the free Nnamdi Kanu online petition launched by our First Lady Lolo Uchechi Okukano in October this year. Reaching the Change.gov petition trigger figures will certainly accelerate the release of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. IPOB UK National Coordinator Chief Nice Mukoro has released a refreshed petition sharing appeal and guide to ensure more ease of access, while pleading with everyone to extend sharing to the contact networks to sign soonest. In another development, Lolo Uchechi Okukano has condoled the families of the 22 Biafrans who tragically lost their lives in a preventable stampede during a Christmas palliative distribution in Okija, Anambra. She advised Obi Jackson Foundation organizers of the annual festive food items donations to embrace renowned health and safety policy and procedure in their distribution operations. Lolo Uchechi aligned with the IPOB leadership in commending the philanthropic gestures of wealthy Igbo, highlighting that the severe poverty and hunger in the land, occasioned by the faulty structures and bad governance, which underscore the failure of Nigeria. IPOB leadership has enjoined Biafrans to embrace large-scale farming, maintaining that the restoration of Biafra will usher in food sufficiency and end.
As more Biafrans heed to the IPOB call to return home, especially with the mandate given to the ESN to provide additional community security, IPOB Homeland Intelligence have revealed that this year Christmas homecoming has been mostly a huge success, despite the Nigeria police and army seizing the opportunity to yet again display their unashamed behaviors of intimidation, extortion and brutality. There has been isolated cases of state security agency criminality aiding and abetting the kidnap of innocent and law-abiding some Biafran returning to their ancestral homeland, prompting ESN Commander General Mazi Chinasomoru to express displeasure at the continuous exploitation of Biafrans returning home for Christmas. A report from the Igbo History Post last week uncovered a video showing hundreds of vehicles lined up with frustrated passengers alleging maltreatment by Nigerian security personnel, outlining the mayhem soldiers are causing at Opi Junction in Enugu State, obtaining bribes and extort money from innocent civilians. As travelers approach Anambra State, several roadblocks were seen mounted by Soludo New Joint Task Force codename Operation Udoka, forcing commuters to part with their cash and prized assets by applying other tactics of harassment, making money off already impoverished populace. Locals complain that the Soludo administration appears helpless, stressing that insecurity in the East is a business for the security agency where innocent individuals are unlawfully arrested and held to bail. Some slam on them. Imagine arresting a bricklayer in the name of fighting insecurity and giving him a bail of 800k after extorting over 500k from the family. Such is the activity of this Soludo notorious cause in Okuzo, where innocent youths are dying daily. Elsewhere in Katsina State, reports say one bandit kidnapped several villagers in Bambandu, Safana, local government last week. Locals and vigilantes captured the bandits' relative demanding an exchange. 2 days later, the abductees were freed, and with each receiving 30,000 naira for their transport. Meanwhile, the APC government has announced plans for the ranches in Imo, Cross Rivers, among other states in Biafra land, in another subterranean plot to reintroduce Ruga. IPOB placed Biafrans on high alert to resist this move, even as we salute the gallant ESN for the unqualifiable sacrifices in preventing Igbo land from being hub of banditry and doing of kidnapping in recent years. 2024 kidnapping and ransom payment figure from the Zoo National Bureau of Statistics indicates 2.2 million people were kidnapped in the contraction between 2023 and 2024, while a whopping sum of 2.2 trillion naira was reported paid to the kidnappers in ransom. ESN helped to ensure Biafran land recorded below average of these staggering numbers, which statistically confirmed the zoo as a fair state.
10 more innocent Biafrans criminally jailed since 2021 were released from Kuje and Kefi prisons a few days before Christmas. Jubilation greeted this latest legal victory won by the IPOB lead counsel Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor and his team. In a related development, a human rights lawyer, Dele Farotini, was released on bail on Christmas Eve. All this come at a time another diaspora pan-Igbo group, US-based Association of Veterans of Igbo Descent, AVID, wrote another letter to President Tinubu to free Nnamdi Kanu this festive season, stating that injustice to Ohamadike is injustice to all Igbo. On the other hand, a scant rented ground of One Nigeria apologies of Ikwere descent staged a shambolic anti-Igbo jamboree in Iguacha, renamed Port Harcourt by the colonialists, shamelessly displaying poor banners that read Ikwere is not Igbo, demanding that they should be left out of Ohaneze Igbo. On the international scene, Igbophobia in the form of xenophobia manifested in Mozambique last week, with many shops belonging to Igbo business people were raised by local Afghans. In Niger Republic, military leader General Abdul Tiani has accused France of arming Boko Haram and also setting up the new terror outfit Lakurawa through funding Nigeria to establish terrorist operational centers in Gaba, Sokoto State, as well as Borno State. General Tiani alleged that the Tinubu and APC government are aware of France's intentions and are complicit in the destabilization efforts that the Sahel nations are posed to fight head-on. In another development, Russia has reported that the US is increasing her biological warfare activities in Africa. The US is conducting researches in Ghana and Djibouti on natural disease outbreaks, pathogen isolation and sequencing. It has also established a military medical center in Kenya to monitor infectious disease spread in Central Africa. In Nigeria, a joint medical research center and military medical laboratory was established in 2024, staffed by 10 specialists from the U.S. Department of Defense. Deputy Secretary of the Russian Security Council, Alexei Shevtsova, have earlier claimed that the U.S. is developing biological weapons, including some aimed at certain ethnic groups. That is the news beat for this week. Stay tuned as the IPOB UK Time Out on Radio Biafra continues with the topic of the week.
But remember, yes, remember, love's the bottom line at Christmas time.
Mr. Producer, let's go for the market and find me an street. No go drinking a full gazi, whether in a house or a pool party. If we like to go party, by December we are coming outside. Christmas is the best season. To chop rice and to chop chicken. All of my guys get to go with the bag up. All my guys gonna show with the bank club.
We are driving home, not just for Christmas, but indeed for good. Top on the agenda of any serious community gathering or meeting this festive season is often about development projects. While some could be fundraising for one, others might be launching or commissioning a completed project. All in all, the rallying cry is think home, Akurulo. The saying goes, East or West, home is best. This philosophy is natural to Ndibo and Biafrans at large. Sadly, we seem to have lost our ways a great deal, succumbing to man-made excuses and shying away from our innate responsibility of looking after our homeland. The result is that our once burgeoning or vibrant, secure towns and safe villages have become desolate, with obsolete native infrastructures, let alone superstructures, with very little indeed to write home about. We appear to have forsaken our fatherland, prompting and promoting invasions and incursions by alien forces, seeking to sack the remnant of our communities and to take over our ancestral heritage. God forbid. Thankfully, there has been a renaissance of sorts, with the renewed faith of rebuilding our Igbo nation and Biafra Confederation by extension. This time we have to make it work for real, which is one of the fulcrum for the movement for the restoration of Biafra. This is the topic we are going to look at today. Homecoming, a transformational move towards restoration of our sovereignty. And I'll be joined in the studios by a panel of distinguished gentlemen who are well grounded in community projects, community initiatives, both from Biafra land and from here. Hopefully, our special guest from Biafra land who has joined us before, but network is not really friendly. He keeps coming on and off. Hopefully he will rejoin shortly. And also our own community engagement lead here in the UK is also expected to join us. For those who have seen the flyers, the names are all there, but as the custom of the UK time out on Radio Biafra, we allow our guests or our panelists to introduce themselves. So I'm still waiting to get signals that the guest from Biafra land, Chief Chus Ibebu, if you can hear us, Chief, please rejoin on your Skype. You join with 2 devices, and then I think you try to take out one, but eventually the 2 of them load out. So it doesn't matter if you join with 2 devices, just keep one on mute, and then we can communicate on the other one that is more available, the one that is more audible. And also, our head of UK National Community Engagement and Mobilization Team, Chief Lodoke Bokwe, is on the road. Again, is struggling with network and connectivity, being on the road, but he has promised that he will make a stop somewhere and be able to join the program fully without disruption. So I wait for our studio guests to reconnect, but I've already laid the background of today's topic, which is homecoming, a transformational move towards restoration of our sovereignty. If you recall, last Sunday on the special Christmas edition, our IPOB First Lady and wife of our leader, Lola Uchechi Okukano, talked a lot about transformation, beginning with reflection that go with end of the year, the reformation that the individual or the group or the organization that is really sincere about transformation will need to go through before transformation can actually take place. So we are more or less kicking on that topic, but for today we are looking at homecoming. This festive period, Christmas, a lot of people come home, which IPOB leadership and IPOB worldwide have encouraged our people to go home. Some of the tricks that our enemies, those who are seeking to take over our land, adopt or apply on us is migration. They encourage us to leave our land, they make our place uninhabitable, they make our place unattractive, they make our youth and our young generation have no sense or feeling of connection or attachment with our homeland. They make life unbearable through different policies and programs which they started after the genocide. The whole game plan is very clear to ensure that Biafra land, Igbo land in particular, is unattractive even for investment, and that is why you see a very enterprising, prosperous Igbo person, instead of citing their industries or companies in Igbo land, where perhaps there are even raw materials and labor and all the other production input very much local within their reach in Igbo land, they will prefer to site such industries either in the west or in the north, in Arewa land or in Oduduwa land. At the end of the day, our people look like, oh, there is nothing. A young graduate, for example, doesn't see anything very interesting to keep them back home. And then we are the highest, check your statistics, in the so-called JAPA, which is height of immigration, brain drain. The moment everybody leaves school, whether high school or university, the next thing on their thought is either to get a job in an oil company, which only very few percentage can get into, and also there's a lot of barriers to get into such jobs for some people. It's never merit. Then the next option for most is to leave the shores of the country. The question remains, if we continue to leave our homeland in droves, the way we have been living, who will remain at home? Who will even defend our land? Who will fight for us if we need to? Because the majority of the people who have already migrated barely come home to stay. We only come home like this. Homecoming is about Christmas. It's about holiday. The children we have been blessed with overseas see Biafra land, see Igbo land as their dad's holiday home. That's what one of my young nephew calls our home. Dad's holiday home. He has no, as far as he's concerned, it's not even his own holiday home. It's dad's. And a little bit of mom, if mom agrees. So at the end of the day, what hope do we have in the next 20 years, in the next 40 years, which is 2 generations? If our children have no inclination, no affinity, no affection to return to our beautiful homeland of Biafra, to begin to think home, to establish themselves back home, create jobs, have thriving businesses that could be international as well. The fact that your children are born in the West like mine should not disconnect them from their roots, should not even stop them from being entrepreneurs both in Biafra land and back home and overseas, I mean where they are born, which they call home anywhere. They can have businesses in both ways. So that is the trend, this very ugly trend of Japa, brain drain, migration out of our land, that the homecoming or Akurulo is aimed at reversing. So I've broken down this topic just for anybody to understand what the topic is all about. It's talking about homecoming, not just homecoming for holidays or for Christmas or for Easter, but thinking home, planning to really go back home, establish, live at home, or at least visit as regularly as possible, create jobs for people. And that is the philosophy of Akurulo. One of our guests, Chief Bebu, we're still hoping that he can reconnect. I will take a short break and see whether I can get him back on. He and his group are championing this on the ground. They are one of the few groups, and I would say, that are genuinely carrying out this call, clearing call by the IPOB leadership for our people to return home. Last year and this year especially, IPOB leadership had ensured that ESN provided additional security support to our communities, not just in the bushes or in the farms and forests, but also in the community through intelligence operations and other way they can. And I think the feedback I've been monitoring constantly. I didn't travel home this season, but I've been in touch every day with home. And I've been monitoring. The general report is positive. We had in the news beat Yeah, there are a few issues here and there, mainly state orchestrated issues. You can see the handwriting of the Nigerian government, the federal government in collaboration with the state administrations, which obviously work for the Fulani Caliphate. You can see their handprint all over whatever has happened, beginning with incessant, numerous roadblocks or whatever on the road, checking point at every 500 meters or 1 kilometer in Igbo land. Whereas the moment you leave Igbo land, after Awuchi, heading north, you barely see anyone. And if you're heading to the west, after Abo, heading to Benin, and from after Benin to Ore, very few. So it's all targeting Igbo, Biafrans. Extortion, harassment, intimidation, robbery, open banditry, even kidnapping. Orchestrated or aided and abetted by state security agents against our people. But this year, thanks to ESN, it is well mitigated, well reduced. And that is the benefit of having our ESN on ground. Because you cannot really talk about investment and development without adequate security provision. That is one of the factors that keep people away from coming home to invest. And as I said, our panelists today, oh my God, I hope they are able to rejoin us. I'm not doing your job for you. I have to ask them specific questions as I always do on this program, so that they can break it down with facts and figures. Here we don't gossip, we don't do hearsay, we deal with real issues, analyze them critically, objectively, and bring out the crux of the matter with facts and figures. This is one of the reasons why we have the UK timeout on Radio Biafra. And we have been in the past 15 weeks or thereabout bringing you quality guests as panelists from within the IPOB UK family and even from without our larger Biafran communities. So that connect or community engagement that this program is establishing is one that we hope to maintain in the incoming year. By so doing, we are doing the evangelism. We are reaching out to our people, we are winning more souls. Some of them who had a different notion, always or often negative impression of IPOB, have sort of changed through their interaction, involvement, engagement, participation, or even listening to this program. And of course, other programs that are on Radio Biafra. This is why we also have to keep promoting Radio Biafra, so that the more listenership, quality listenership, that we get people tuning to Radio Biafra, where their deep brainwashing will be done thoroughly. This is where we cleanse your brain. And it is for everybody. Both IPOB family members, we can't claim to know too much or know more than we really know. So the learning is for everybody. The re-education is for everybody. As we bring people from outside of our IPOB family, they learn from us, we learn from them. And that is how growth happens. So this incoming year, as I said, 2025, our own slogan here in the UK, productive, is that 2025 is our year of true transformation. And in this year also we move, and we cannot be moved. Because when you're grounded, when you're solid, both in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you cannot be moved. And when you move in confidence, because you know exactly the direction you're heading. You are not arrogant, you're not overconfident, but you are clearly directed, both physically and spiritually. The fight for Biafra restoration is not only of the flesh. If you've come into this movement thinking that it's about your flesh or what you think you can do with your own muscles or knowledge alone, you are making a very fatal mistake. You need to engage spiritually as well. I mean, sometimes when I listen to our First Lady, she's on about this spiritual angle. That's where some of the words she uses come from. Yes, last night I was watching on BTV, Mazi Patrick can bless you for being very honest, did confess that a lot of people don't understand First Lady, because in his words, she's on a different trajectory, she's on a different level. But that is the level we should all aim at. We shouldn't be mediocre. We shouldn't be what people used to say, oh, IPOB is miscreants. Some people never believe that in IPOB you will see well-learned people. I'm not even talking about learning in terms of paper qualification or degrees that you can't defend. I'm talking about people who are granted with really solid knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And also backed with spiritual gift of direction. That's what this movement is. And I'm sure that in 2025, a lot of that will come out in the fall. And if you're blessed with it, don't hide. Don't hide anymore. Come out. Let Chukwukadama use you. He needs to use many of us to bring about Biafra. We can't continue to go around in circle year after year. No. And we must also involve our people, engage them. The highest form of education, the highest form of transformation comes from interaction, from engagement. Do not be scared to engage people. Have a mental fortitude to last long, even in an argument, and have the right attitude and manners to positively interact as long as it takes to win a soul. That's what this movement calls for. And we can do it in many ways, one of which is what we're doing on Radio Biafra, is what is happening on BTV, is what is happening with the Directorate of State, their guidance, and the expert engagement at the international level, diplomatic moves, and so on and so forth. People with very little brain or understanding just castigate and talk rubbish. Everybody wants to go with euphoria, the jamboree, dancing on social media, creating skis and answering agitators or freedom fighters. When the chips are down, then you revert back to your original ID, which is a content creator. Such a person is useless as far as this movement is concerned. If you haven't got any solid thing to offer Biafrans, I'm afraid you should just be in the background. I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, you're part of the family, but please allow those with the calling to lead, to be in the forefront. And don't drag people back with all the shenanigans or narratives of so many of them have had lows in the UK in the past 3 years. But this year we are poised to transform all that. We must reform, we must change. But tonight is about our homecoming. I will open the lines while we are still waiting for our panelists. I will be happy for them to join. I shouldn't be the one doing all the talking, but we'll open the lines and hopefully they will join us and give us their own perspective. Today is Orie Day, the last Sunday of 2024. This year has been very, very challenging. If I may reveal to people in the United Kingdom here, we have faced a lot of travails. We have lost no fewer than 7 members of the IPOB family, starting from back end of around this time last year till today. And we pray that, well, we've done that prayer and Chukwukadama has answered it, that we don't lose any more person until this year runs out. But in my reflections and the further deep studying, I now realize something told me many years ago by my grandfather, who was then 91, about leap year. This year, it didn't even occur to me at the beginning it was a leap year. And then there are leap years that occur every 5 years, that's every 20 years. Remember, 20 years is a generation. There are particular leap years that coincide once every 5 years. Sorry, every 5 leap years. And this happened to be the one. So generally speaking, it is believed, and this is not superstition. The world has a cycle, the world has a rhythm, the world has a pattern. And that's why we say history often repeats itself. And it's not funny, it's not coincidence, that is the way of nature. Leap years, a lot of people die more in leap years. than the other 3 non-leap years after every 4 years. Go and check your statistics. And this particular leap year is the one that is most dangerous, and it did show itself. So we give thanks to Chukwuka Abiyama, who has kept us alive. 2 more sleeps. By the time you sleep and wake up again, you are in 2025. And we will cross over to the year 2025. And my prayer for every IPOB family member and all Biafrans, friends of Biafra, lovers of freedom, is that the incoming year 2025, our year of true transformation, will be indeed a turnaround, positive turnaround in our individual lives and also in our collective, which is the movement for the restoration of our great nation, Biafra. So, dear listeners, today's topic is still the same, it hasn't changed. It's just that I'm buying time waiting for our panelists, 2 of them precisely. Mazi Sam Iheme, by the way, is also in transit. He's in an aircraft, I believe, so will be very difficult for him to join. I think he has some delays from his original schedule, so he won't be able to join us tonight for sure. But Chief Lord Okeibo, our head of community engagement and mobilization, please, Akajigo, if you can hear me, I hope you are able to connect as soon as possible. Also, we need our home base special guest for tonight, Chief Chus Ibebu, who is the founder of Akurulo Media International, one of the organizations or agencies, if you like, championing homecoming of our people, creating opportunities and avenues for our people to return home in terms of investment and development projects. I don't know the details, I must confess, so he is the best person to tell us, and then he will talk a little bit about also what they are doing to promote security, what his group is ready to do to work in collaboration with IPOB, because we must start working in collaboration with our people. We must fish out the good ones among them, and we must call out the not so good ones. You know, I'm not one of those who believe in sparing people. Sometimes it could be brutal. Yes, the things we're facing us calls for that. It's not savagism. You're not being cruel. We're just calling a spade, and if you haven't got the mind, the spirit, the body to call a spade, you're not fit for purpose for this movement. I believe that the majority of us, the reason why we love our leader Yendemaz and Nandekano is because of his altruism. He calls it out the way he sees it. Even sometimes oversteps the boundary, and his zeal requires such. So I keep saying we are not ice cream sellers. We are not here to please anybody. We are not here to pander to people's feeling or make friendships and they become boyfriends and girlfriends. I think those who do that, you know where they belong already, the criminals. They have shown themselves that is nonsense they do there. So if you're an IPOB, that is not what you're an IPOB for. Yes, we can help ourselves. Yes, we have to look after ourselves and genuinely love one another. Agape love, I mean, it's not boyfriend-girlfriend matter. And genuinely keep your eyes focused on the ball, on what we're here for. The world is revolving, transforming every day. And we have great opportunities of achieving our restoration without shooting any bullet, without killing anybody. Countries have done that already. So why can't we? Yes, we keep saying, oh, Britain is this, that. We know they are difficult. But that which is difficult also requires a strong person. So you need to be very strong to be in this movement and to stay resolute. Mazi, while we wait for calls or my guests to come in, you are more than free, Mazi Chukwemeka Alozie, my uncle, you are more than free to chip in so that I'm not boring our listeners just by myself. But I would, or if maybe you can give us a break too, maybe an interlude or something, play something for me to reconnect with our panelists to know how they are faring, if they are able to, before I ask our listeners to join us on the phone on this topic, homecoming. You give us a call, tell us how this season's homecoming is in your community or wherever you are. This is especially for people in Biafra land. Call us, report live what is happening in your place, how people have turned up for this Christmas holiday, security situation, areas of improvement, and give credit to where it's due. If the ESN has done a fantastic job in your location, say it. Give thanks also to our leadership for the wonderful job they are doing, because I say to Onyakid, and you all need to actually join IPOB. Join IPOB nearest to you as a family member. Join IPOB through your support. If you think you're handicapped because of your personal circumstances to come out in the open, that's fine. You can support this greatly. Support the ESN. Set up your own support mechanism or payment method that you prefer. Be rest assured that every single dime you contribute will be judiciously utilized for the purpose of safeguarding our land, protecting our land, and preserving our generations. Mazalozi, you may come in, as I said, or you can give us a small interlude from your end while I connect with our guest, particularly the guest from Biafra land. I think he is really struggling with network. Right, welcome back, listeners. This is still the UK Time Out on Radio Biafra. Today, Sunday, Ubachuri, last Sunday of 2024. I remain your host, Ikechukuna Ismokoro Ichie Mwachinemere, the United Kingdom National Coordinator of IPOB. This is our own program, but we also welcome Biafrans, great friends of Biafra from all over the world to be part of our discussion. Today's topic, we are looking at homecoming, a transformational move for the restoration of Biafra. I broke it down earlier, explaining that all it's all about is encouraging our people to come back home, have a plan. You don't just rush. It could be 2-year plan, 3-year plan, maximum 5-year plan of returning home, or at least bringing your investment back home. There is nothing that stops somebody who is based in abroad from having investment back home. There's nothing also stopping us from relocating completely, going back. I, for one, the day we get Biafra, I just have less than 2 weeks to pack my bag and baggage back home. But then, it is a project. You have to plan it, and there are different phases of planning and implementation or execution of a project. So you have to follow those steps, one of which is coming home as regularly as possible, doing your feasibility studies, looking at those things that you can actually invest in or you can retire into or settle down to, which is one of the visions of IPOB, encouraging our people to go back to our traditional occupation of farming. When we talk about farming, we are not talking about just crop farming. There's also animal farming. There are many, many viable subsectors in the farming that you can engage in. So we open the line shortly. The numbers to call are, if you're calling from the UK, the usual number, please call direct, preferably, is 078-177-96032. I take it again, 078-177-96032. If you're calling from outside of the United Kingdom, your best option will be to call the same number on WhatsApp, which is +44 78 177 96032 +44 781 77 96032. So you can join us and give us your own perspective. Tell us the situation from your location in Biafra land more especially. But then you can also call from anywhere in the world and give us either your direct observation or what you are able to monitor from your base. This time of the year, we are always on the phone calling people at home, supporting them with palliatives, with relief materials by Christmas. And if you haven't done that, please, we are still in the festive or Christmas mood. Merry Christmas, so mmadụ sị gị Merry Christmas n'ụlọ gị gbaa ya Christmas. Ọ lebe nwere gị gbara ga abụ ụta ahụ hapụ maka ndị ọjọọ anaghị asọ mgbagbu agọg. Anyị gbacha ya Chukwu kada maka na-agọzi gị, you receive more blessing. Don't think that by doing good, your good will harm you unless you didn't have good intention in your good doing in the first place. So we have to continue doing the best we can. Then the recipients of this generosity should be grateful as well. Being grateful doesn't mean you have to worship the person or do eye service. I hate eye service with passion. And I hate even praises. I don't like people praising. Just being grateful is being honest and humble. And also you doing the little good you can do for somebody else. It doesn't have to be monetary or material. It doesn't have to be in cash. You can do good in many ways. It could be with your time, talent, or treasure. I always say there are three important T's in life, which each and every one of us has or must have. Is your time, your talent, and your treasure. Often people think it's only about treasure, which is the cash, physical money, currency, or materials. No. The other two, very, very important too. Time is money. Talent is huge money. That's why some people get paid mega monies because of their talent and also their time. So you can join us on those numbers to please be part of today's program. We're still struggling with our panelists. It's one of those days. I've made contact. Hopefully they will rejoin. But for the time being, the lines are open. You're more than welcome to be part of this program. This program is listener friendly. We are interactive. So yeah, today's episode is the last Sunday of the year. So maybe by a divine inclination, it is open. It's your program today. So we are all panelists and special guests today. Phone in, give us your own perspective. We'll be back in a few seconds. Let me just take this message coming in. Okay, got our first caller on the line. Hello.
Good evening. My name is Jude. I'm calling from.
Hello, Maazi. Good evening. Could you please lower your radio Biafra? Turn your device, your listening device down so we can hear you proper.
Yes, good evening, Maazi. Nice.
Good evening, Machineke. Happy New Year to you in advance and Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, Happy New Year, sir. I think this question is for our rule, or probably when he comes, he can still ask him to expatiate on it.
Yes.
I want to ask him, how does he see the role of community PGs in helping security networks to reduce kidnapping in Biafra?
Very, very important. In fact, I need to script it down. Yes, I have a related question for him, but I think you asked a very direct question.
Yeah.
Yes, the role of community PGs
in helping security networks.
Yes.
To reduce kidnapping.
Yes, you are very correct, because that's one thing that is missing in our ESN. Unlike what happened in the West, in Oduduwa Republic, where they formed the Amuteku. People keep making a lot of mistakes. I done the research. The Amuteku wasn't done by the government, as they're claiming. It was done by the APC, Oduduwa People's Congress. But then they got their people to buy into it, like you rightly pointed, Mazi, through the PGs first, through the Obas, and then eventually to the governors who prevailed on the governor. They didn't have any choice to endorse it. And of course, their brother was vice president then. So they had upper hands. But in our own case, our own people did not form anything. They were playing ostriches. They were pandering to the wishes of the caliphate and are ready to sell our own people and slaughter our people. Oyendu said no. IPOB leadership said no, and we intervened, which is the culture of Andibo. Back in your own local community, in my place, we have local vigilantes. They have different names in different villages and towns, which we pay for through our community development union, like you said, the PGs. But when we formed the ESN, December 2020, instead of using the so-called intelligence we claim we have, to say, okay, this is come on board, we can go around, which Oyendu was ready to do with them, support, and it becomes an adopted local, regional security network, the same way Amoteco is. They didn't do that. The PGs ran away. Everybody sees the IPOB as a parent. Oh, don't touch IPOB. And then, of course, they are cowards. They agreed with the caliphate and the person in Basoro, Asrim Buhari, to proscribe IPOB. So nobody wanted to come close. They ran away. So, Mazi, you're very correct. The PGs have a big role to play. But the PGs that will sit down with the Ezes, the Igbes, and the Obi of Onitsha, for example, to prevail on them, to who will invariably now prevail on the governors. If we had this network of connectivity of different cadres of leadership in the community, there wouldn't have been any problem at all. ESN would have been solidly backed and funded like Amoteco, and the Fulanis cannot dare. But as usual, the PGs are doing their own thing. Very good question to ask Chief Ibebu when he comes back, or we will actually take this up as one of the topics. One of my own is to engage these people. I'll bring them up. Remember, before we brought our UK timeout on Radio Biafra, a lot of these community leaders, Igbo leaders here in the UK, they always run away from anything IPOB. But now, they are engaging us. And I can tell you, a lot of them are on our side now. We may not get, they may not come and give you money. We are not looking for money. Because if I go preaching money to them, they'll think that's all we care for. And that's not my approach. I go preaching their soul, their spirit, and the soul and spirit of their children, and unborn children. And that is what is winning the argument. So when we do that conscientiously, continuously, consistently, I believe we will break the ice. And it has to start with these president generals of town unions in our communities. They should stop taking bribe or being happy to go and sit in the Ezes Palace and drink free champagne and Makoyambu, and get one useless crossing car and they have a driver drive them around and they grow fat, maybe pot belly, and as a PG.
Thank you, Mazi. That's my question.
Okay, thank you, Mazi. Thank you very much. Do you have any other contribution? Let me ask you, did you get any, are you in touch with home? Are you getting any feedback or reports from home? What's the situation back home?
Yes, I was able to call them and they told me that everything is fine.
Good.
There was peace and tranquility. It's only the hunger that is killing people back home. Apart from that, the security-wise, everything was fine.
Good. At least that is one positive or two. Then hunger is, they weaponize hunger. I think it's just a strategy. Same thing they did during the genocide. They used starvation and hunger as a weapon of mass destruction, a war strategy, if you like. And to be fair, it worked for them. That is why we gave up. Otherwise, we were at the precipices of winning that war. And some of the international community today thought we chickened out. It was widely believed that if we had sustained that war, if our eternal leader, Ikemba, did not go to the Cote d'Ivoire Ivory Coast for safety and has stayed on. No disrespect to General Philippe Effiong. If Ojukwu was around, he wouldn't surrender. And if we had gone ahead to push on for another 3 months, we would have won that war. Biafra would have been declared. But here we are now. This generation is our duty to ensure that we cross the finish line. And we must. Thank you, Machineke. Thank you very much for calling in.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you.
There was Machineke. Yes, so the lines are open, as I said. The numbers to call, if you're calling from the UK, you can do as Mazidike did, call directly. I believe it won't cost you anything. You will come out of your normal credit allowance, whatever you are using. The numbers to call are 078-177-96032, 078-177-96032. Call directly so that you can free the WhatsApp line for those who are calling from outside of the United Kingdom. Those who are calling out of the UK, please use the same number, but call on WhatsApp. You may also try Telegram, but I think you just restrict it to WhatsApp so that we don't have the lines jammed up with calls from 3 different apps. So call on WhatsApp +4478-177-96032 +4478-177-96032 on WhatsApp, and we can get through to you. What we are looking at today, homecoming, a transformational move towards the restoration of our sovereignty, or rather towards the restoration of Biafra. People coming back home, becoming a reformative, transformational move. As I said, explained earlier on, it's a move. You have to take a step. But then it's a continuous step. Because it's a project, it's a process. It shouldn't happen one day or overnight. But if you want to go back home and invest, you should do your feasibility studies, have a business plan ready, then begin to look for people that will work with, or financiers or whatever, acquire the physical infrastructures that you need in place to start the business and start setting it up. I mean, anybody who's done business before knows how to set up a business. Or if you don't know, one thing our people are not good at too is cooperative. We don't like to work in teams. We are very difficult in working in teams. They say we are Republicans, but one of the most foolish attributes in quotes of that our so-called Republicanism is individualism as well. Here in the United Kingdom, I have a lot of friends who are from Asia, India, and Southeast Asia, Bangladesh, and other countries. They do very well. What do? Cooperatives. They work in teams. Small teams of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they build up together. They manage themselves. They don't live bogus life as we do. They eventually will when they have reached the mark. But they put their resources together, put their time together, build something from the scratch, whether they have a note, maybe that's what we need. We have a note in IPOB, because one of the problems why we are Biafrans neighbor find it difficult to work as a team, work in cooperation or collaboration to establish something meaningful that is sustainable, that will outlast our own lives, is because we don't trust one another enough to work in team. The moment we start, pettiness starts, petulance start, or stupidity will just come to the fore, and the project can't even get off the ground, let alone be sustained for a year or two. But these people do it, and we live here with them many years. What are we learning from them? Do you think that will be taught to you in a university? No university will teach you that. Just as no university is able to teach IPOB boy. Harvard is trying to understudy us how we do that. But we created that indigenous apprenticeship IPOB boy, and it made so many people rich and wealthy. The only thing I think, part of the transformational ideology I would suggest is for people to learn to work in group. And the way the world is now is no longer 1966. It's for you to really have a thriving business, to be honest, you need to have well working partnership. Because if you keep going yourself, you open one little shop and you keep struggling with it, God forbid you pass on, and maybe your son or children are not even interested, they sell it off. But if you establish something as a cooperative, as a small team, you have board of directors, you run it like a proper corporate organization, and you deal with it transparently. And it makes everybody grows from within there. That business can be sustained generation to generation. So again, these are things we need to look at. Even farming that we talk about, IPOB encourage us to go into farming. You try to be on your own alone. How many acres of land are you able to farm? Especially without mechanized farming. When you go into corporation or cooperative, then you are able to expand your productivity and operational base. Anybody who knows a little bit about business knows that profit has a direct correlation with volume. The more you produce and the more you sell, the more profit margin you hit, and the richer you become. There is no magic about it. It's simple arithmetic. So these are things we should be looking at as we cross into the year 2025, and let us expand the horizon of our reasoning, the scope of our understanding beyond what we know before. Let us be teachable, let us be amenable to new knowledge, understanding, and I keep saying wisdom, which is the greatest. Because you can have all the knowledge in this world, you can claim to have all the understanding, acquire all the degrees you have. If you have gotten all wisdom, I'm sorry, it's not going to lead you to anything tangible. So that is it. The lines are open. You can join us. You're more than welcome to join us on today's program. I'm here with Mazia Lozier, and our guests, unfortunately, have not been able to join us. Thank you. We blame it on network, on technology failures. These things happen. Take another break, then when we come back.
To the party, vibe. December, we are coming outside. Christmas is the best season. Chop right on the chop TV. All of my guys get it though with the sky god. All my girls gonna show with the sky club. La vida de lejos, the special miracle. It's nothing without us. Let it show everywhere you go. Tell everyone you know. So you can start the season if you're loving and you're
Right, welcome back. It's still the UK Timeout on Radio Biafra. We are still in the Christmas season. Happy New Year in advance to all of you, our dear listeners, wherever you're listening from. From here in the United Kingdom, we wish you a prosperous, healthy, and happy 2025. As I said earlier on, by the time you sleep and wake up and sleep and wake up again, you would have transformed into the year 2025. And as you do, I do pray and hope for myself, for you, for each and every one of us, that 2025 will genuinely be our year of true positive transformation. These last 3 days of the year, apparently 2.5 days left, I have a personal culture. Every last 3 days of the year, I do my own little rituals of fasting to add to my reflection. I don't go out quite a lot. I just keep to myself. I do a lot of soul searching and reflection, list a few things down that I need to change about myself. Often we talk about change and we want others to change. We want the world and our environment around us to change. But if we're honest, we are not ready to change anything about ourselves. But as I say, the true change starts with you. That means me. Said while we were with Lolo last Sunday, I talked about the man in the mirror, and she gave us the lyrics from the legendary Michael Jackson. Yeah, look at the man or woman in the mirror. That's where the change should start from. So I want to enjoin all of us here in the United Kingdom, in particular my IPOB family in the United Kingdom, these last 2.5 days of this year, please get a massive mirror. If you don't have one, go to where there is one. Spend some time, look at the man or woman in the mirror. Go there with our pamphlet, Biafra, with our map and our oath and national anthem on it. If you can, recite the oath in front of the man in the mirror and recite the national anthem in front of the man or the woman in the mirror. Do soul searching. If you can do that in your closet, in your inner room, better. And I do about 4 hours of search on the 31st. I know people do also go crossover. Please avoid too many jamborees where people are gathering in the name of crossover too much. If you're a religious person like me, you can go to your church for those little hours you need to, but do your own homework first. Because all the jamboree, we don't actually think. They're carried away. And you don't really come out with anything. Of course, it won't end on January 1st, but that is a solid foundation to build from as you go into the new year. Then you continue your reflection, which will lead to reformations and then transformation, as Lord explained to us last Sunday. The reason being that what you are trying to achieve is not something that will just last for a week or a month, or by Easter it has all crumbled like packs of cards. No. You are trying to establish positive changes that will be long-lasting, that will be there throughout the year, and then you will kick on to the next year, and then the following year. I want to plead with all of us to do that, particularly my principal officers. You have a huge responsibility. I want to say this on air. A lot of us in the UK, we have a spreadsheet which we are using for evaluation to rate how everybody is performing. No excuses. Everybody will have this. I have 1,001 excuses. Personally, as I said, I have 5 little children. The eldest turned 8 on Christmas Day. The youngest is just 1 year old. I have a lot of burden personally on me, and a lot of challenges, trials, tribulations, temptations. So we will have excuses. No excuses. Ask yourself, have you been genuinely committed and contributing to this movement? One of my own resolutions, I'm sorry, I have to declare this on air again, I told my family here in the UK, I want to be thinking and talking positively. It doesn't mean I will be mincing words or people who know me, I call it spade a spade. Sometimes you're happy with what I say, I don't care. As long as I've said the truth and I've said what I know needs to change things positively. And one of my resolutions going into 2025 is to not use that word struggle. We'll do a program about struggle. I'll tell you the origin of the word struggle. I will not use it personally anymore. I'll prefer to use movement, quest, mission. Those are the words I'm using. I will not use that word struggle anymore. Because it's negative and it reflects on what we are doing. You continue to struggle. My spirit coming to me to say, preach this message. If we all believe we're in a movement, we move forward, we move. And that's our new slogan for this year. If we all believe we're in a quest doesn't stop. You remain resolute, you remain consistent, and you keep asking, you keep probing, you keep searching, and you find. That's what the Holy Book said. But he that searcheth truly must definitely find. Doesn't matter how long it takes. But he that is struggling will continue to struggle. And then, of course, we are in a mission. You don't have a mission if you don't have a vision. Onyendu has a vision, which led to IPOB, and that is what we are buying into. We are not here for jamboree. I keep repeating. That's one of the things that made me cancel all those people that did those idiots. Because they think that what we are doing is jamboree. As far as I'm concerned, they make a caricature of the whole mission and the whole movement. So if you're an IPOB principal officer in particular, and we have to be very serious. Not everybody now be principal officer. You think the leaner we are, the better. Yes, we need everybody to be family members. Well and good. Pay your dues, pay your ESN, support with good spirit. If you've come to bring trouble or contention or unnecessary drawbacks, we put you in one corner. You need the right spirit and the right body and mind to move forward. Another message I want to pass as we go into 2025 is that personally I cry every time to say, why is Onyendu still in this? I know what I do personally, physically, spiritually, for him to come out. And it appears as if Chukadiyama has ignored all the supplication. He hasn't. I've grown to learn too that no is an answer from God, and it's a good one for me, for you. But it hasn't happened as I anticipated or prayed for or hoped. Doesn't mean Chukadiyama has not answered the prayer. He has. But there must be a reason why he has kept Onyendu up to how long he's been there. Mark my words today. Only 3 days ago I had a reflection, and I was in deep in my reflection, was like in a trance. The message came clearly that we must sanitize the house before Onyendu comes out. It will be travesty of justice. It will be wickedness to Onyendu that the house itself is filthy, is dirty, is disorganized when he comes out. What do you want him to do? You want to mess his head up again? After all the mental, psychological, physical torture he's been through for nearly 4 years? Then he comes out to his home, which is IPOB, one family, and his mercy is full of pettiness, petulance, unnecessary, things like that, attitudes. No. So I think this whole length of time is for us to sanitize the house. I know our HOD is a man of wisdom, will be talking to us on New Year Day, but I'm revealing my own revelations now, personally. And that's what I want to embark on here in the UK. I'm sure the leadership, as always, will support me and back me with my team. We must transform. Things can never be the same again. It shouldn't be the same. Otherwise, we are wasting our time. And I'm sure we are not wasting our time. As I said earlier on, time is one of our biggest resources. It's one of the 3 T's. Time, talent, treasure. So we cannot be in this movement or this quest and it's all about jamboree or wasting our time. Do you know how much talent I have as a person? And I'm putting all this into this, and it's a waste? No, and so many of us, Mazalos are here, so many people, in the quest for Biafra restoration, have invested a lot of their time, talent, treasure, for 10 years some, and upwards 5 years minimum others, in different ways and forms and shapes, and we think it's a joke, or a jamboree, and you think it's something you just treat with levity. You are a principal officer, you are not available to do any job. If they evaluate what you have done in a year, it doesn't even quantify anything. Yes, people say, oh, what we are doing is voluntary, and so what? It's voluntary. I've written the book myself. I said, it is voluntary for members. For principal officer, it has gone a little bit beyond voluntary. You have a responsibility, you have a duty. And anywhere somebody has a responsibility or duty, it is now what I call voluntarily compulsory. So you don't just go and fold. Even in voluntary work in the UK here, look at volunteers in charity shops or any other places where volunteers do. They still follow policy and procedure. They still give in the time they have agreed to give in. They come into the work, they are volunteering, they treat it professionally. They don't go about it with levity and just abandon things or do whatever they like. No, that will not be allowed anymore. Not anymore, not under my watch. And I don't think Onyendu will tolerate that. So the revelation I have, I'm sharing with Biafrans tonight, is that the house of Onyendu, his one family, IPOB, must be cleansed, sanitized, or put in place proper for it when it's coming out. And it's coming out. Lolo declared it last Sunday. Somebody asked Lolo the question whether it's possible for him to come out before the end of this year. She was honest about it. I mean, I think the person was just pulling her legs, or maybe wish. Plus, we're in Christmas, you're allowed to wish. As they say, if wishes were horses, beggars will ride every day. But Lolo was very honest to say, not this year, 2024, but certainly next year, 2025. And I think a big said to that, and I'm sure all of us did. And I believe that it won't be more than the first half of the year, if not the first quarter. So we have a very onerous task of continuous sanitization of this house before Onyendu comes out. So when he comes out, he can retain sanity. Because he himself, Onyendu, needs transformation as well. He can't go through all he's gone through 2015 to 2017. If not for the hand of True Kabiyama that anointed him, that is on him, he would have gone ages ago. So he can't go through all this and then come out not transformed positively. And it's to be very unfair that when he comes out, we still feel him with negativity to mess his head up again and make him worse than he was before. Anybody who does that is a wicked human being. And because the person is a demon. So that's my message tonight. It's my New Year message. I'm glad I poured it out here on air. Maybe this is why the guest ran away to allow me, because I don't normally speak on the program this much or this long. But I'm saying it now. Those who already know me closer knows that this is my spirit. That's what I brought to this movement. No, I'm not the best. I'm not bragging. I'm not boasting. But if I boast in the Lord. That's the only boast I have. And I sincerely urge us to have the same spirit, or better spirit than mine, for the full restoration of Biafra to happen in our lifetime. Right. Maazalozi, I think we will be rounding up today's program. Unless you want to come in, sir, and make some contributions. The lines are still very much open. I don't know who is out there listening and who wants to come in. Give us your own perspective, as I said. Reflect on what Lolo said last Sunday. If you want to go back to Lolo's program that you didn't have the opportunity of calling in, that you are more than welcome. If you want to move it on, today's topic is follow-up actually from last Sunday. They're all connected. Fine, you can come in. Next Sunday we'll be looking at New Year resolutions, declarations, and affirmations. I have some guests lined up. Maybe, I don't know whether I will have to consider the guests from Biafra land joining the panel next Sunday if it's more possible for him. We may marry the two topics together, but next Sunday being the first Sunday of next year is about New Year resolutions, declarations, and affirmations, which is what I've already started in mind. But the guests will look deeper, and it's about in-house soul searching, IPOB. I think one of the areas that will be touched is about our oath. Let me not let the cat out of the bag. Watch out for our flyer promo, weekly promo flyer of the UK timeout on Radio Biafra. We'll give you all the details. But in January, we'll be doing a lot of our topics will center about on ourselves, so that we can lay a solid foundation for the new year and kick on from there. Last year here in the UK, we weren't on air, but we did a seminar like we also did in the previous year. Sorry, this year, I mean January 2024 and January 2025. The first thing we did in January was to do an e-workshop, like a general meeting, but it was more of a seminar where we looked at our code of conduct, our oaths, and explain things to our people. If people keep record of all those things, that's why record keeping is so crucial to this mission we are into. Without the records, you chase shadows. Your brain cannot keep everything. So we'll continue in that same trajectory by the special grace of Chukwukadama. In the new year, this January, but we want to be more practical now. We want to be more realistic. Talk is cheap, but it's walking the walk that follows talk that is most productive. Dear listeners, this is still the UK Time Out on Radio Biafra. On today, Sunday, Holy Market Day, the 29th day of December 2024, the last Sunday of this particularly memorable, for some people miserable, and as for others, remarkable year. One thing that doesn't go well for one person goes fantastic for another, and that's his life. And we have to rejoice with those that it has gone well for, and also mourn with those who are mourning that it hasn't gone very well for. So that will be our last episode of this year. Of course, by next Sunday we'll still be back by the special grace of Chukwukadama. But by then we'll be in the new year, brand new year 2025, that we hope will be truly our year of total, genuine transformation. Not only transforming as individuals, but we have to begin as individuals, but also transforming as a family, IPOB, one family. In readiness for Onyendu's return. Once Onyendu returns, I think is ahead, no going back. The flag of Biafra will be properly raised, not the charade and some idiotic, moronic imbeciles did in Latin, Finland, not too long ago. No, that's not what we are talking about. But the completion of the task, the crossing of the line, the finish line. Once Onyendu comes out, we'll keep ahead. Of course, Onyendu will need time to recover. I hope everybody knows that. He will need time for Lord and the children, the family. Our able, capable DOS will still continue to steer the ship. This is my own personal recommendation. Why Onyendu recuperates and recovers. But then he needs to be in a clean house to do that. And then he needs to have genuine reports in front of him. That while he's recovering and relaxing, he's going through things. The world has gone digital. You don't need to carry all the files in the world to send to him. And you don't need to bother him with phone calls or visits and telling stories. I think that's what he has been used to before, where some people will now run to him and start feeding him with lies and hypocrisy and eye service. And I think to me, those are the real enemies of Biafra. All those who deceive Onyendu, lie to him, cheat him, harm him, and claim to love him, just as the Judas Iscariot did to Jesus Christ. Those are the real enemies of the Biafra restoration. The household enemies. The Chukwukadama will fish them all out. We don't need household enemies. They are the worst enemies. And we pray for Onyendu too, as I said, even in these last 2 nights that is sleeping in the dungeon, that Chukwukadama will send greater forces, spiritual forces, than he has already given him for protection there, but give him more forces for transformation. So that before he himself comes out, he will also undergo his own transformation. Because again, things can never be the same, even with him when he comes out. I will say this to his face, with all love, respect. I will say this to him. We have a caller on the line. Thank you, caller. Hello.
Yeah, Mazi.
Okay, Mazi, you're back. Okay, you're keeping me company. Thank you.
Yes, Mazi. Mazi, I want to ask something, while waiting for to come, I was thinking, what can we do as IPOB regarding the image of ESN locally, so that all these kidnappers, when they hear about ESN, because relying on PGs, I don't think they are well connected to the government, so there's nothing we can do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you know, you're a principal officer too. I'm sure you know very well that we can't disclose our strategies on there. Yeah, then also, even on ground, you know how the ESN has been managed, which is one of the envy or jealousy of our political leaders in quote, because the way they were shocked with the formation of ESN and the announcement, and they see on ground that it's true. They thought no propaganda, no able until they saw on ground that it's true, and they went after our people. You know what happened to our commander Ikonso. You know what happened to other very formidable Umakuko. And they have not given up. They are continuing to do the same thing. So we will continue to jealously protect IPOB, and by extension protect principal officers, protect our Umakuko. A lot of their operations or strategy, just like everything about the movement, can never be discussed in the open. Not even in our meetings, not all our meetings. I mean, I'm sure you do know that there are layers. This one, some people don't realize. In a freedom fighting liberation movement like ours, there must be layers of information disclosure and management strategy, such that myself, my humble self, for example, as a national coordinator, there's a limit to what I should know. And you as a zonal coordinator, there's a limit to what you should know. Same as regional. I know some people get frustrated with this. Some of our principal officers, most personnel, get frustrated and because they think, oh, I don't give them all the answer they want. I don't know. One. Two, some that I know I am not allowed to. I do say it in meetings. There are some things I'm not allowed to share. So that's the same way it will be. And our leadership cannot disclose everything. Neither can Onyendu himself.
Because, a glaring example is this Christmas. Because the Chinasamuru made that statement that that our ESN will be empowered or supported to make sure that this Christmas becomes a success. But it was coming home. And that all Biafra land was quiet.
Yes.
The soldier mount or camera always their own territory.
Yes.
But within the community, people were rejoicing, doing their meeting, no single trouble at all.
And why that was possible is mainly because ESN operates with high-level intelligence.
Yes.
Again, intelligence is all about information gathering, management, disclosures. Is not something that is not a knowledge that is available to the people or the flippant. No.
Because this homecoming, you said that 3-5 years, it happened that the reputation of ESN well water locally. If you want to go home to invest, you know that yes, the fear of ESN will make sure that these kidnappers and all these people will not interfere with any investment you're doing.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, Maz. And if you're talking about what we can do to promote ESN, of course, the things we do is funding is key, which is why we always do the ESN fundraising. Here in the UK, we do quarterly, 4 times in a year. Some zones do monthly, and I commend them a lot. Then at the end of 3 months, they aggregate what they've gotten, and that will be quarterly. And every time we are requested by leadership to support them, we do that. One of these Sundays, let me also announce our special guest for January will be my boss, our European rep. Now, if you're listening, I'm sorry that you may have had it on air before we even talk But that's the normal way. As I said, we did workshop or seminar last January where Mazi Austin Abanyim and the HOD were there to give us some insight. So now we have this platform. We also do if you like, a broadcast seminar where our special guest for January will be Mazi Austin Abanyim to give us more insight into the key things we should focus on this year. As I talked about transformation calls for focus. It's not everything that you see that you grab. Sometimes you see this one, you leave it, and you go for the bigger prize. So we have to be very strategic. This is the time for us to show our level of intelligence. Bring your intelligence on board. This is the time the movement needs your intelligence. So we have to bring all those things on board. And as I said, Maz, we can't disclose everything. But in terms of what we can do, the one we can openly say, I can tell you categorically and for free, that funding is one, because Ana Abaka Ahomata ESN, and that's what ESN has been starved of. ESN has been struggling with that funding, especially since the zoo infiltrated us. You know what happened to our finances and how the leadership struggled with recovering our finances and our account. That is not something I can go into details on. And then you also know what happened with our membership, because don't forget IPOB is unique. I keep saying this every time, in the sense that it's probably, do your research, probably one of the, if not the only, freedom fighting mass movement that is self-funded, that doesn't have funding. Now you see what the infiltrators, the jamboree they did in Finland. It has been disclosed that they had funding already from Islamic banks and from some Janjaweed, militia, from jihadists. So imagine, just this is an infiltration, a copycat, a photocopy they are trying to create of IPOB has huge funding. Whereas IPOB is self-funded, so financially is in dire threat, and therefore funding is key. And this is why, as I said, personally I prioritize community engagement so that we can engage the average Biafran who may not be a member of IPOB or who understands what we are doing and buys into, yes, there is need for ESN to continue their good work. They can also continue to support without being members of IPOB. They can support discreetly. They don't need to disclose their details so that some of them are afraid, because they still have some dealings with the zoo, and which is legitimate. If you work in the zoo, maybe ministry, the federal ministry, or even state or whatever, if you work in parastatals or institutions there, that's where your daily bread comes from. That's where you're feeding your family and you're solving your family problems come from. So we cannot jeopardize them. That would be very selfish and unfair. We have to also protect them. But since their spirit in there is in what we are doing, there must be a way too that they can conveniently support without being exposed, if you get what I mean. So, and then another very important thing we can do, like I said, is evangelism, community engagement. You mentioned about the PGs. We have to engage these people. And there is also, this is my personal view now, there is nothing wrong from our own people being in those things. Because if you want to change our community, from my experience, all my life, I've always, from the age of 16, I started serving community. Everywhere I've been. Back home, in Lagos, the whole Africa, in America, when I sojourned in America briefly, then here in Europe. For some reason, it's not like I bring myself out, they always fish me. And it's a selfless, thankless service to our people that I have put in more than 30 years of my life to. But I've learned a lot too in it. I've learned about the psychology or the psyche of our people. So, for you to get them the support you're talking about, you must robustly engage them. Community engagement. Again, as you're doing that, you're doing with intelligence. You're not going there to vomit everything that you've heard or know, no? But you, just like every good salesman or a marketer would do, you find your unique selling points and you give them exactly that which will appeal to them to be interested. Okay? So I think that's what we should be doing in this incoming year. And I'm not saying we've not been doing it before, but probably we'll do it a bit more. For me, it's more effective than us sitting down all the time talking to ourselves. You know, you're preaching to the converted already. It doesn't make sense to me. And then another benefit of that is that, keep saying this, I've seen it like in my dream. Biafra will come like a dream. It will take many of us by surprise. The day we will get the opportunity of referendum, many of us will not be prepared for it. So is that, maybe they give you a small window now to go and do campaign for the referendum. You think is enough or sufficient for you to win votes? But if you're already doing community engagement, if you're already doing evangelism on monthly basis, on quarterly basis, then you have done 70% of the job. So any day, it's like a student who is always doing their homework, doing revision, always doing extramural classes or tutorials. There is no way that student will not be better than the one who is just waiting for exam to be announced. Even when you are super intelligent, when I was in the university or school all the time, I was always involved in activism, which was a massive distraction. But I always have this idea back of my head. I will always have to catch up with tutorial. I organize with some of my mates to learn things that I missed, practice them. Then I'll still run out to go to, I was Vice President National Affairs of NAS, the whole Nigerian students in my time. So I was always traveling. But even all those places I'm traveling, I was ready. Then sometimes I just get in 2 feet of my campus, and then in the next day's exam, my mates will think, that it's not possible. Ask my schoolmates, they will tell you. Some lecturers will come and put themselves near me to see whether I use useful. And one just came to me saying, because he couldn't believe that this man that is not always around is writing this thing. So, I'm just using this as an illustration of preparation. And for us, IPOB, we need to be prepared for any day, any eventuality. And that is where robust community engagement and mobilization is key to whatever we are doing. For me, it's top priority. Aside finance, of course, we need finance. So, Mahazi, thank you. That's a very good question to bring up. Unfortunately, Chief Ibebu couldn't rejoin us, but hopefully we'll get him. He's a very lively, visionary young man. So one of the people I will call the new breed of Igbo leaders that we need to encourage. There are many of them too, or should I say, not too many. And then there are the ones that we need to really combat not their physical body, but their psychological mindset. All these Igbo leaders, whether they be social-cultural leaders like Ohaneze, whether they be political leaders like all the governors and all the people that surround them, their PAs, and we need to start having contact of who the PAs to governors are, who their SAs are. We're not going to sell anything now, but we need to start engaging them. Many of them are your classmates. So we need to be selling the idea of not just ESN, but Biafra to them. We don't want them to come out in the open. Of course, they can't come out in the open to support us. But surely their conscience must speak them, and they must find a way to say, yes, and then the open way is open. They're not our enemies. You know who our enemies are. And IPOB will never in any way, shape, or form come against them or to kill them. No chance. And that's why we keep saying that these people that you see killing, maiming our people, they are not for Biafra restoration. The auto criminals that are doing all the things that if they are for Biafra restoration, they will never have the conscience to do the criminality and the impunity they brought our land. But we must transform ourselves. Transformation is all about renewal of your mind and your spirit. Positive renewal. That we must do. Right, thank you very much, listeners. I'm sure wherever you're listening from, you must have heard me. And occasionally, Mazi DK, who kept me company, and I appreciate so much, Mazi, for calling in on this special edition again, because we're still in the festive season of the UK Time Out on Radio Biafra. Our panelists couldn't make it today, but tomorrow is another day. By the time we come your way next Sunday, it will be the new year. And hopefully we will have a panelist that will give us some insight. Either the second Sunday or the third Sunday, I will discuss with my boss, and then he will come on board on this program as our special guest for January and give us some more insight into what not just only the UK family needs to focus on or understand better, but IPOB families worldwide. So until we come again next Sunday, I once again say Merry Christmas still, because we are still in the Christmas mood. Your Christmas trees are still up. And a happy, prosperous New Year in advance. Please do not go into this New Year without embarking on a little exercise of reflection. Draw a little map for your reformation or plan, and put in strategies for transformation in place as you go into the new year. May Shukokadama enable you to take the steps, embolden you to be fervent in them, in your prayers and supplication, and in your action to see that those things come to reality. Positive change or transformation of us, me first, you first. Then we come together as a collective. The aggregate of the collective will bring about the genuine transformation that we all aspire to and we all hope to. And I believe by the time we are doing these steps, when He rejoins us, He will breathe a fresher air. He will love the smell of the house that He has entered or re-entered. His spirit, His bone, His body will be calmer. I think He will be energized for us to push forward to cross the finish line. Thank you very much, my entire UK family. Bring you season's greetings once more. Best wishes of the new year ahead of us. I may do a little bit cut out of this program because I was planning to do a little bit audio as New Year message, but I will, together with Mazi CJ, who is our head of IT and innovation. Thank you, Mazi Shuriken Nebokike, for the wonderful job you do, not just only for IPOB UK, but for IPOB worldwide, using your time and talent and also your treasure to do an inestimable work for this movement. You see, Kemachineke, we may probably edit and cut out some of this today's production that I have literally given my message, and that will be shared to, in particular, my IPOB family, but we will continue to do what the best we do. Thank you also to Radio Biafra crew, our IPOB worldwide head of media, Maazi Ofoma. Thank you, sir, for your support and encouragement. The Directorate of State, my own boss, Maazi Austin Abanyim, and all of you in the Directorate of State, we continue to pray for you as we eagerly await the broadcast of our HOD on New Year's Day. We are solidly behind you to support, do the needful, the much we can do from our own end. On behalf of the UK Cabinet, my regional coordinators, zonal coordinators, and all the principal officers and the entire family members here in the UK. We also thank Maazi Chukwemeka Alozie, who has been our anchor. He's the man who made it possible for us to reach out to you. Maazi, thank you so much for your support and for bearing with us. Sometimes we give you a lot of headache. Hopefully in the new year, we will be able to broadcast this program direct from the UK here and relieve you. But we're not going to leave you. We only relieve you because we are one. Thank you so much, Maazi, for your support. Also, not forgetting Maazi Jonathan Chinedu, who actually started the anchoring with us first in September. To all of you who has made Radio Biafra this formidable house that it is, our institution, our own university, our own cathedral where we worship. I urge you to continue to do your very level best to push it even further. And for all those who have helped us in this our program, the UK Family Program, the UK Time Out on Radio Biafra, please continue to support us. In the year 2025, we will be relying on you and others to push this program forward. I will not sign off without reminding us about the ongoing online petition launched by our First Lady and Onyendu's wife, Lolo Chechi Okukano. Lolo, we thank you. Happy New Year to you, ma. We continue to pray for you and with you. We are together with you. We here in the UK, we see you as a member of the cabinet. You are one of us. Because this is your own family as well. We are your babies. So thank you for your support, moral, spiritual, otherwise, in many ways. I urge everybody to please go and sign that petition if you haven't. I put up a little thing after the BTV interview yesterday. It really touched me to say, really, and I was in another meeting. I joined the zonal meeting at the end of year meeting, Luton Zone, last night. I was asked some questions about the petition, showing that some people didn't even know one. Others knew or heard about it, but they didn't know how to navigate it. And IT can be funny, challenging, and at the same time frustrating. You're trying to do something on the laptop or the phone. You get stuck somewhere, you just forget about it. So I put up a little guide, which I think Lola retweeted, which is very great. Lola, I appreciate that for the credit. I didn't think I needed it, but thank you for making it clearer to people. Please share those guides. It will help some people to understand. About 7 people have told me today they followed it, including those who asked the question in that meeting last night, and they've now been able to complete signing it. It is my earnest hope and desire that by the New Year Day, we would have crossed that 10,000 mark. Already, we are showing there that more than 10,000 plus have actually shared the petition and even donated. So if we have reached that number, that means some people may have thought they signed, but the signature has actually not completed. Recheck. But thank you for the support still. It gives us great optimism that by the new year we'll cross 10,000. Then we march on. We have a bigger target of 100,000, but at least let's get to 10,000 so that the parliament can bring up the matter and discuss it, and then we push forward. These are some of the little ways that we must intensify Oyendu to come out, and he must come out. Enough is enough. So that is it. That's my ranting for the rest of the year. And on behalf of everybody, including my lovely family, I will say, from me, from here, is Happy New Year.